All right. Hello and welcome to everyone joining us. Ooh, we are filling up quickly.
Wow.
Welcome to Building Smarter Legal Agents. We're going to give people a couple minutes to join. And while we're waiting, can you let us know where you are calling in from? And then we have the fun idea of also giving an emoji, assigning an emoji to the weather where you are. So, we can interpret perhaps what type of weather you have. Please be creative with that. So please open up the chat and let us know where you are joining us from and what the weather is like in emoji form. Oh, Laguna Hills, Brooks, is that the fire? I'm a native Californian, so it's hot, but I'm just making sure the hills are also not on fire.
There are fires, but not where I live. It's just hot.
Oh,
No
okay.
way. Oh my gosh.
Mel, I grew up in San Jose.
Oh wow.
Lovely. All right, we
Chicago.
still.
Yeah,
Oh,
Netherlands.
oh, rain. Perfect. We're gonna give maybe like one more minute, we'll say, just because I still see some more people coming in from Brazil.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And
Nice.
nice, Robin. It's sunny in Reno.
Oh
Las Vegas. That is the best emoji for summer in Las Vegas ever.
yeah. Oh my. Laura, what's the
Perfect.
weather like in New York?
It's actually beautiful. It's like
Oh,
perfect. It's 70s, sunny. Yeah.
translate in Celsius. What
Oh
what's that
shit.
in
And
Celsius?
my phone is over there. 25, 23.
Okay.
Right?
Nice.
Like not too
Nice.
hot. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Zambia. Oh, cool. Well,
Oh,
we will get started. Feel free also we're going to keep using the chat. So drop in, you can drop in your LinkedIn profile in there as well for networking, but we will get started. So welcome to Building Smarter Legal Agents, where we're going to look at real world use cases and best practices. We'll introduce ourselves in a second, but I want to get started first with a statistic. So I always like to start off with something that is a little bit engaging. So I don't know if you saw this, but this is from a news article that maybe is about like a week, two, maybe 3 weeks old. So think about something that relates to AI and this 95%. I don't know if anyone saw the article. If you did, feel free to drop something in the chat because usually when we do this in person, we have people talk to their neighbor and guess what this 95% relates to. So I don't know if anyone wants to be brave and guess, what stat relates to 95% in AI. Yes, Brooks, you got it. So it is that a recent study came out that 95% of generative AI pilots at companies are failing. So why is that? And how is that relevant to us? First, I just like to say, whenever I can, I like to get the most awkward, like robot human images into the slides. It is not on brand for the company, but so I just use these because they crack me up. Side note. But why are these pilots failing? Because they're not using focused application. They're just giving their teams AI tools and not working on what problems are they solving. In certain instances, you're going to need specialized tools. And we at Wordsmith definitely believe that legal teams need legal AI tools. And then lastly, the piece that I happen to be most passionate about is there's a lack of education and training. So if you're just throwing AI to your employees or trying pilots that way, it's most likely going to fail because it doesn't have a focused application. In certain instances, you might need specialized tools. And lastly, it's not being supported with education and training. So that's why that article and stat was relevant to us. So at Wordsmith, we believe that AI won't replace lawyers or legal professionals, but it will change how legal work is done. And that's really what we're focusing on. And that's why we're teaching about building AI agents, because we're going to change how we do work. Now, just really quickly, some of the stats that we have from some of our customers is that with our contract review tool, Trustpilot saw that they saved 6 minutes per page on vendor agreements. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's 6 minutes per page. So if you have a 25-page agreement, right, that's 2.5 hours of time saving. And obviously, if you multiply that by weeks and months, that is a tremendous amount of time. We also have seen people using our tool for contract intake. You can do a bunch of different things, but that has resulted in 30% faster deal cycles. And these are for more complex matters. For some really easy matters like NDAs, we're seeing NDA turnaround times drop by like 80%. So it really depends on how you're using the tool and what problems you're solving. So now I want to take a moment just to introduce ourselves so you know who we are. My name is Laura Jeffords Greenberg. I am a California licensed attorney, currently residing in Denmark, but presently in New York. I have been in-house counsel for 12 of the last 15 years. So I really identify with in-house counsel, and that's what I can consider myself. And I've been teaching AI since 2023. Doesn't seem like a long time, but that was, right after ChatGPT came out and teaching people how to use AI in legal work. And I will hand it over to Elly.
Hello. So I'm Elly Meenan. I am a legal ops engineer here at Wordsmith. A little bit about me. So I have a UK law degree, but I chose never to actually practice law. I went down the legal ops route instead. So far, I've worked with over 50 legal teams to improve their legal ops function, and I like to build things for fun, and I post about it on LinkedIn sometimes.
Definitely recommend following her. You do some
Oh,
really cool things.
well, so do
And
you.
thank you, but I always ask you also the more complex questions
Yeah,
and
well,
whether or not I can do something. So what are we going to do today? The objective of today is to understand what an AI is and is not, just very generally. What are best practices for building AI agents and tools, and to become inspired by real examples of AI agents. So because we both work at Wordsmith, we're going to show you these examples in Wordsmith, but we're also going to be talking about how you can do this with other tools as well. We just are going to use the tool that is available to us. And what do you get at the end of this? Because that's always a question that I get. So I like to preempt it. You will get this slide deck I present from Canva. So you can go in and it has links out to various things that we're also mentioning. You will get the recording. We have an online prompting guide. We also have the Wordsmith Academy, which is where we put content and have office hours and live events where you can learn more about how you can use AI in your legal work. And then for lawyers on your team, we're also going to have substantive content around law. We just have a new video that went up today from our CEO explaining what legal AI is, and it's a really good video. So I would recommend checking that out. It's free. And then also, if you would like a 2-week trial of Wordsmith AI, we are offering that to you. So then you can try out some of what we're explaining and showing you here today, because that's how you learn better. Learn by doing. So the 3 rules that we have is please ask questions. You can come off mute and ask us questions. You can interrupt us. That's totally fine. There are no silly questions. So again, you can come off mute or ask questions in the chat as well. We'll be monitoring that. And also, if you want to, in the chat, share your experiences, that would be amazing. Because when I do these a lot, I really learn from everyone. So please, also share your experiences. We would appreciate that, so then we can all continue learning together. Oops, went one too fast there. So now we're going to do a poll, which is how often do you use AI tools in your work? And it is, hold on, I'm going to move this so I can see it, hourly, daily, weekly, or never. So it's either, in your work that you do, how often are you using these AI tools? Oh, and I think I can't see it because it wants me to vote.
Yeah, you got to answer it too.
Oh, cool. Can we see it, or did I just lose it somewhere? No. Can you see the results at all?
No, I can't. Can you?
I cannot.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go. Boom. All right, they're up. I was like, wait, where are they going? This is also fascinating because I've been using some of these same questions when I do all my trainings, and it's definitely increasing. So far, we're really seeing that over half of you are using um, AI tools daily and weekly, and only a small fraction of you have never used tools. We're going to try to bring everyone along on our journey, no matter where you are. So that just kind of helps us understand who we're speaking to. And the next one, the next poll is how comfortable are you with prompting? And so it's very comfortable, somewhat comfortable, or not very comfortable. Again, this is just to help us understand sort of where you are in your AI journey, and then we can customize our presentation a little bit. And again, I can't see that poll. I don't know if it needs to be shared again so we can see it. Oh, awesome.
Wow.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to ask, do you want to tell us what do some of those GPTs do? Any examples of what you're using them for?
Sure. Some of the GPTs that I use are for project management. So I'll introduce myself real quick. My name is Isis Bistet. I'm a lot like Elly, actually. I obtained my legal degree, did not pursue the bar, but went the legal operations route because I love technology. And so as an early adopter of ChatGPT, I recognized that it could save me a lot of time. And so for legal project management, for strategizing around legal process issues in a corporate environment, for creating I'm African American. So as a Black woman, I often have challenges speaking to white people when I'm in a position of authority. And so ChatGPT also helps me translate my language in a way that doesn't offend white people while allowing me to retain my power. The other areas that I would recommend ChatGPT for, or frankly, any AI tool for, thank you,
Yes.
is when putting together a contracts management system. So I'm an expert in Ironclad. And when putting together a contracts management system or configuring a contracts management system, there are a lot of moving parts. And legal teams do not understand the power of GPT. They also do not understand the power of CLMs. I'm sure present company excluded because we're all here on this call. And so in order to walk in-house legal teams through a project related to a CLM, you really need to provide them with white glove service and a project management plan that they can get their arms around, but most importantly, that they can understand. Because a lot of attorneys are concerned with privacy issues around GPT, and one of the common conversations, and I'm sure, Laura, you have this conversation all the time, which is you can license an AI tool without, it can be an enterprise license so that the trainers don't see it, it's in a siloed instance, and you can use it in a way that will not disclose any proprietary information. And so I have this conversation with attorneys all the time, especially privacy attorneys.
Yes, I'm only laughing because yes, I have the same conversation as well. But thank you so much for sharing. That's really, really awesome. And I think we'll probably reach out to you afterwards to learn more about what you're doing because that sounds
Great.
extremely cool.
Yeah.
And then, oh, there we go. Okay, we have popped up. Okay, so you got most people here are very comfortable with prompting, which is great. Now, this one, I'm just going to let it keep going, and please put this in the chat. But in an ideal world, what are the top 3 things AI would automate in your daily work, the work that you're doing? So give that some thought, and then you can go ahead and throw that in the chat, and we will keep going. So what we're going to do briefly, the roadmap for the rest of this time is we're going to briefly look at a definition of what AI agents are, just to make sure we're all on the same page. Then we're going to actually show you use cases and talk about how we built them. aka Ellie, will tell you how she built them. And then we'll go through some best practices. And again, we're allowing time for questions. So if we don't get through all our slides, that's completely fine. But then you will have them afterwards and you can go through and look at what we recommended for best practices. So the first one is really quickly, I'm a lawyer. Apologies, everyone, that I'm a lawyer. But we need to define this, and I think you probably won't be as picky as when I present to lawyers. But what I say, if we start with the broadest definitions, what is AI? AI is simply artificial intelligence, which is intelligence that is mimicking human intelligence. Then we have agents. What is an agent? It's an entity that acts on your behalf. So if we put both those together, an AI agent is AI acting on your behalf, mimicking human reasoning. So we're trying to have these agents do the work that we're doing, and they're mimicking our reasoning. However, because it is software, it's not going to work exactly like our brain works, and all of our brains work a little bit differently. So we have to understand how AI works, so then we can write those instructions and get the most out of AI when we're building agents. And that's what we'll be talking about today. Now, one of the questions that we do get is the level of autonomy in agents. There is a concept of fully autonomous agents. We're not there in the legal world yet. We have been testing this out, but to have fully autonomous agents, you need to have 99.5, 99% accuracy, 99.9% accuracy, and we're not there yet. But I pulled it from a paper. There's various levels of autonomy when we're talking about agents. And I'm not going to go through all of those now. I just want to bring that up. When we're using agents, we can have something where a human is fully in control, all the way to where a human only really monitors it, and the AI is actually kicking off its own workflows and executing and doing all of the work. So now this is the best part. This is the more fun part is going to examples to inspire. And so we're going to just tell you, since we're doing this in Wordsmith, I want to make sure that you understand our Wordsmith terminology. We call workspaces are like souped up custom GPTs or projects in Claude. Perplexity also has it, but I forget what they're called. But this is where you have a space that has custom instructions and files. And so anytime you chat within this workspace or within a custom GPT, it's maintaining that context. So it's always going back to the custom instructions, operating how you told it to, and always referencing the files, how you told it to in those custom instructions. And so this is the first step into building out agents, is really building out those custom GPTs or building a workspace in Wordsmith.
Yeah, I would essentially the way I like to think about it is you're building the GPT's brain, right? You've got your sources, which is the knowledge that you're uploading to the back of the brain, and then you've got your custom instructions, which is essentially telling the AI, how do you want me to think about and act upon the sources that I've uploaded.
Yeah, and I see there's a question that says, when we're talking about building or creating GPTs, are we talking about prompting or building models from scratch? So this is like, I don't know, technology people don't want to talk to marketing people or branding people. So custom GPTs is a terrible name because you have ChatGPT. And so a custom GPT is using ChatGPT, but making your own little model of it. So we're not talking about building models from scratch. We're talking about using the capabilities of ChatGPT, but then really it's giving it boundaries. A custom GPT is kind of putting it in a box. Instead of using the wide open chat, you're saying, I want you to act in this certain way, like a brain.
Yeah.
Like you said, Ellie.
Yeah, I like Ellie's description. I want to dovetail into that and say, ChatGPT generally just has so many sources of knowledge that we have no access to. I mean, it's incredible how much knowledge it gathers and how quickly it processes that knowledge. A GPT is really focusing that knowledge. So, for example, I want to buy a house in the Bay Area. I know, ridiculous, right? But it's a dream.
Oh, you.
I know, right?
Yeah.
And so I would create a GPT that would be a California licensed real estate broker. And I would ask that GPT to be an expert in that field and to help me as a buyer understand what I need to do to successfully purchase a property in the Bay Area,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so the answer that the GPT gave me was purchase a multifamily property. That was the answer. Why did it give that answer? Because I can afford more with less.
Okay.
I
So
mean, that
that's
makes sense.
right. The
You can,
the the mortgage will be paid by my tenants. I will live on the property. I will also pay into the mortgage, but I'm not going to have this huge uh, responsibility, financial responsibility over my head. I will actually be a small business. So that's the power of GPT, right? It's really asking those questions. How can I do this? How can I accomplish this? But telling it that it's an expert in this field so that it can grab all the information. Or if you want to limit it, you can do that as well. Sorry to jump in
definitely.
there, Ellie, and
No,
we're
no, fantastic,
No, please.
fantastic
Yeah.
examples. Yeah, and if anybody has any other, like, we want this to be conversational, so of course, absolutely jump in.
Yeah, thank you. No, I appreciate that. And so now we're going to show you some examples of that. You could make, someone brought up, I forgot about Google. So Gemini gems, you can make custom GPTs in the same way. Something that we feature that those don't, though, is this sort of Slack integration. So we use Slack as the Ask Legal channel. So how can we harness first one, all of that information that's in the Ask Legal channel, and then how can we automate it so then I don't have to answer the same question 7 times, and I don't have to answer questions that are already answered in a database or documented somewhere. And so we've seen teams who have implemented this, like they're saving, their lawyers are no longer having to re-answer these questions, and it's saving anywhere from 20 to 40% of their time. And also it saves annoyance from the lawyers because you're like, oh my God, you have that answer. Like, so what it does is it provides quick legal answers. It saves time. It also provides consistency, and it reduces legal bottlenecks by automatically answering questions based on your previous knowledge. So we're going to jump in now and see what that looks like. I'm going to hit play here. So this is, before I do that, this is a workspace in Wordsmith. So here's the chat where you're going to interact with it. Over here are our files, and then you'll also be able to see our custom instructions. And we realize that it is small, and I apologize here, but here you can add sources, so you can directly link to live documents. Here are our custom instructions, which Elly can say a little bit more about in a second, why those numbers were in there. This is when you go into the more advanced settings, you can see here we can import from Slack, so already using all the information you have in Slack, or you can add other sources. We also you can put the Slack on autopilot, or you can have it also be on Copilot. You can also email into it. And down at the bottom too, you can see we have MCP servers that you can connect. So now we're going into the Ask Legal channel here. Can I work from Bali for 3 weeks? We're asking this, and Wordsmith has an answer. Unfortunately, you cannot. Please call on Robbie. So, if you have any other questions, call on Robbie. Well, I don't like that. I want to actually improve this answer. So I can just do this right here from Slack. I can go ahead and reassign this to Elly and Robbie right there. And then you can see privately, it's going to go, I believe, right to them, or when I'm, yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. So like maybe you're not the specialist in that area. Maybe you want some more context, or you want somebody else to answer it for you. You can send it to that other user in a private channel. They can then improve and approve the answer, and it goes back to the user.
And this is, you can either, again, you can automatically answer, or you can set up a Copilot channel. And so that's what that is showing there. Co-pilot means that it's going to go to your legal team first. The legal team will approve the answer, and then it will go back into Ask Legal. And so I'm going to switch over now because we want to show you like how we did this. And this is where I'm going to let Elly tell you about how she created this.
Yeah. So step one would be create the workspace, as you saw. Typically you would sync it up to your internal documents. So the reason that I would push sync in with so we sync up to G Suite, Notion, Confluence recently launched this week, and SharePoint. You can obviously, of course, upload your static files, but the reason I push for sync is that if you update your docs, you move a full stop, you add a word. Wordsmith is constantly basically taking in that information. It's constantly retraining itself, so it has the most up-to-date information at all times. There's no need to come in, delete your old docs, re-upload the new docs, retrain the AI. It's all done for you. The other step is the custom instructions. So like I said, telling the AI, how do you want me to think about the sources that you've given me? And yeah, how do you want me to act upon that? And you saw that I had a ton of like numbers. So like, let's pretend that a lot of teams want legal to still be in the loop when AI is giving out these answers. So you might have a rota in the team. Oh, you're all good. You
I'm
might
sorry,
have
I know I'm doing this. Go ahead.
You might have a rota within the team of like on a Monday, Elly monitors the chat. On a Tuesday, it's Laura, yada, yada, yada. Instead of me having to maybe visit the channel when I remember, I want the AI to tag me at the bottom of every sentence or the bottom of every answer, just to remind me to come in, take a look at it, make sure I'm happy with it, approve it, goes back to the user. They know legal's happy. Alternatively, if you are like specialized on practice area, if it's a privacy question and Laura is a privacy specialist, then we get her to be tagged every single time it's something to do with privacy. The point here is that we can really give you the outcome that you want, and we can get you like as granular as you like when it comes to custom instructions. We've got customers who have like step-by-step reasoning that are like 2 pages long. But yeah, there's some really cool stuff that you can do with custom instructions to get some pretty cool outputs.
And you can see that this is pretty low weight as well, as you were saying, but it still works. So I wanted to make sure that, yeah, we could all see what you were referring to there. So we'll just stop here and see if there are any questions on this, because you can replicate like the same custom instructions and connecting to databases. Obviously in Google, you can connect to your Google. Also Claude and ChatGPT allow you direct connections to certain databases as well. All right, well.
I have a question. So it kind of, in the area of Slack, it's kind of working like, it could work like a knowledge base, so you don't have the repetitive questions. Okay.
Exactly. So we see an issue with a lot of legal teams, right, is that they have queries coming from every department in the business. Typically, these questions are monotonous, they're repetitive, they're low value, right? And they're coming in from email, Slack, private message, channel message. They're coming from everywhere. Why could you not just streamline all these queries? One entry point. I don't love the term legal front door, but you're essentially embedding yourself where the business is. It's in your comm center. People know that's the only place I can contact legal. Your bot acts as the first line of defense. It answers the question that the business has, gives them the answer straight away. Legal is no longer the bottleneck. The business is getting an answer straight away, and they're able to move quicker.
I love that.
Cool.
I have a question with regards to the Slack channel. So that's something that I suggested to my CLO. One of the concerns that she has is in regards to like confidential questions and like how do we prevent the business from putting information into Slack and having that like automated response from an AI like chatbot or whatever. So how could I address that? Like, how can I address that concern of hers? Because I do think that it's a tool that, especially with my legal team that is so lean, a lot of the bottleneck is on our workload and not being able to respond right away. But I feel like a legal Slack channel where people can ask their questions and get an immediate response would be extremely helpful for us. But how do I address the confidentiality issue?
Yeah, so if the query is confidential, so we've seen with a couple of teams whereby maybe it's equity queries or it's just HR personal queries. Wordsmith also has an app in Slack. So if you scroll to the left-hand side of the page down at the very bottom, users would be able to ask their questions in there. It'll still go to the legal channel. So you could have it on Copilot or Autopilot. So the legal team will still be able to see it. They're still in the loop, but the user's question won't be exposed to the rest of the business. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, that helps.
Okay,
You
perfect.
can do that, or you could also in the custom instructions tell it if anyone asks any questions related to these things, and you'd have to think of those first, right? Like, do
Yeah,
not answer them in the custom instructions. Also, in Wordsmith, we have preset answers. So if you can say if any, someone asks about equity, then this is the response that I want you to get. So give. So you can also with custom instructions or with one of our, our functionality, you could probably address that and have that be handled. It doesn't mean that's going to catch everything 100% of the time. You
exactly.
might, there might be some trial and error.
Yeah,
Okay.
you can definitely set up rules. So there's options there. Like again, you can keep it extremely confidential in the sense of going to the app so nobody else sees it other than legal. Or yeah, set up the rules. The other couple of things you can do with workspaces, you can have multiple different workspaces in a Slack channel. So let's say, for instance, you had your Ask Legal, Ask HR, Ask Finance, and yeah, you wanted the business to be able to come into one Slack channel, ask the question. Wordsmith will automatically route to the correct bot or the correct assistant based on the rules that you give it to. So there's a lot of functionality there.
Okay. Wonderful. Thanks.
Good, no problem.
Any other questions? No, we're going to go to a real quick. Sorry, did someone come off mute?
I did. Hi, Laura. It's
Yeah.
Malia.
Hi.
Thank you guys for doing this. I did have a quick question. That's kind of a little bit more general. Like on average, like how long do you think that we should be um dedicating every day to kind of implementing AI in our legal teams in a way that is both efficient but also kind of avoids the 95% that we started talking about originally at the start of the conversation.
Oh, are you coughing? Ellie went on mute.
Sorry, I'm coughing. Do you want to take this one or do you want me to take this one?
I'd like to hear what you have to say first.
Sure. So in terms of implementing, like I think there's a couple of ways you can look at this, right? So in terms of like general productivity, I think Laura, you've got a slide on it later, and you tend to say around 18 minutes a day, right? Like spending just yeah, broadly using AI tools. Laura has a really, really great saying, which I use even for our own customers, which is like for every task that you're doing during the day, if you can, before you started or even reflecting after, think about was there any point in during this task where I could have used AI to speed me up? So that would be like general productivity. But then in terms of like implementing an actual product, I tend to work from the perspective of identify your problems first. So at the start of a quarter, I might say with the legal team, like, okay, we've got one, two, three problems. We really, really nail those down. We look at like what does success look like, and from there we put steps in place. So by the end of the quarter, we can actually say, okay, this has been our outcomes. This is what we actually managed to achieve. Here's the metric to say like how much automation we put in place, um, how much it sped up the legal team, and the success to do with that. I don't think you could really put that down like time wise day to day, but it's more just like checkpoints and metrics for you to be able to say at the end, okay, this was my outcome and it was a success. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
No problem.
Laura, do you want to answer as well?
Give it a go.
I was gonna say you don't need me. I guess yeah. From my perspective, and I say use 18. Like if you use 18 minutes every day just to experiment, purely experiment with AI, and I'm talking more to lawyers, right? Who are difficult and usually have problems with technology, just so they can start using it. Because when you start using it, and let's say you will start to have some aha moments. And once you start to have those aha moments, even if it's not related to legal work, it's related to buying a house in the Bay Area, then you can think about, oh, maybe I can then use this in my work. So that's why I first start with experimentation, but then also, right, to be successful and not have a failed pilot. Like I think what Ellie mentioned of identifying your use cases and then trying out is really important rather than just playing around with it. I
Yeah.
think that's important, but you also
Yeah.
need to have specific pain points that you're solving for.
Otherwise,
oh,
sorry, go ahead.
Ellie.
No, go
Um,
ahead. Go ahead.
I think we're going to say the same thing. So for use cases, for legal use cases, the question becomes, what are the appropriate use cases for a legal department? And one of the use cases that I love testing with attorneys is taking a standard NDA template and asking ChatGPT, asking AI to identify those areas that would be disadvantageous for my client. And I have to tell you how surprised attorneys are when the answers come back, and pleasantly surprised. Some attorneys do, take issue with it, and they will say, okay, well, there's, there are other considerations that it's not identifying, and absolutely. However, if it can identify 95% of the spot, I'm going to use our old law school phrase, spotting the issue. If it can spot, 80% of the issues in a NDA, an innocuous NDA, it's worth the time to sit for 18 minutes to ask the question, to upload the document, to fine tune the analysis, because you're ultimately saving time. What did you say, Laura, at the top of the hour? You said 6 minutes per page. So if you've got something that's scanning it within seconds, giving you the issue within seconds, you really only need to go into the document and identify those contextual issues that are appropriate for your industry. And that's a use case that I love to share.
I mean, I think that's great because I also, right, whenever you automate something, you always start with NDAs because that's the easiest use case and the least complicated. And I've also seen where lawyers like, oh, this is my pain point, and it's like the most complicated thing, and they want to start their AI journey there. And that's not a good idea. So let's go back and start with an NDA, and then you can work your way to the more complex issue. I know that's your biggest pain point, but we have to work up to that in baby steps. And I do see that Debbie says it's unfair to say that lawyers don't know or understand technology. There are a lot of us. I'm a lawyer. I love technology. But I think for what, at least what I see when I'm doing trainings with legal teams, is you've got a few champions and people who are awesome and they're leading the way, right? Early adopters who are lawyers. Then you got people in the middle, and then you've got some grumpy people at the back. The majority of people are in the middle. And then when you're working with AI adoption, like tap into those early adopters, those technologists, those people who love AI, and get them to bring everybody else on the journey with your team.
I also have to do a shout out for the grumpy people too. Without the grumpy people, I don't think I would have a job. It's the grumpy people who and in all honesty, that and not everybody has an affinity with technology. I mean, let's be honest, right? I love what I do. And if the grumpy people don't want to do it, more than happy to take it on. I enjoy it. Actually, Laura, you bring up a really good point, and Debbie brings up a good point, which is technological fluency. There are a lot of folks out there who are not technologically fluent, and that's okay. Not everybody has to be. But I would love them to enjoy technology where they are. I would like technology to meet them where they are. They don't have to be developers. They don't have to be coders. They don't have to be evangelists like me and Ellie and you, right? They can be wherever they are, but I would love for them to have the opportunity to enjoy the benefits of it.
And that's, I think, why AI is so great, because you can just use natural language, and they can start playing around with chat. And then like I use examples of like, okay, have it help you make a meal, have it help you plan outfits, have it help you garden. I read like have it help you do anything in your personal life first and then come in to work. So then they can get excited. Oops, sorry, or trip planning or something, right? They can get excited about that. I'm going to jump into horizon scanning because I want to show this one and I want Elly to talk about how you can also do horizon scanning because this is where we're then getting a little bit more complicated with agents. So what it is that we're using RSS feeds, and Elly, can you tell us, explain those? You did a really good job explaining that earlier.
Oh, well, thanks. So RSS feed, if you're not sure what it stands for, it's really simple syndicate. And the reason that I push it is because it's a free app. You can access it within Slack and MS Teams. And essentially what it does in a nutshell is most like blogs, websites have an RSS feed. So any updates that they publish, you're able to pull them into your comms platform. And then what we're able to do with Wordsmith is set up rules and parameters whereby it'll actually read and scrape the URL for you and it'll extract the data insights that you actually need. So I have a customer who is an employer of record and they need to horizon scan for minimum wage increases across the world, multiple different countries. So that means multiple different RSS feeds. And what we do with Wordsmith is they've set up rules whereby the AI reads the URL and tells them, okay, so there's a minimum wage increase in Argentina. It's going up by 25 cents. It's been implemented on the 25th of April and it tags the appropriate lawyer, gives them a summary. You're able to interact with the AI, get more information if you need it. And additionally, back to the example that we gave on workspaces, that would have been in the custom instructions. But if you upload some sources, so like maybe some policies that you have, maybe some things to do with your company, Wordsmith would also be able to advise you as an advisor on maybe the next steps that you need to take to actually implement this minimum wage increase. So like where do you need to update it in your documentation, give you a roadmap and just act as a general advisor.
So for example, like let's say because I actually worked at an employer of record. So I, as a lawyer, am going to get pinged when that minimum wage increases. And then because we've hooked it up to how our team operates, it then tells me what I need to do with that information.
Exactly. And like, look, with RSS feeds, it can pull in multiple different sources. If it's not relevant, you don't have to know about it. So therefore the AI won't tag you. You can again get really granular with this, but if you want to be alerted and know the next steps, it can actually absolutely let you know so.
Perfect. And let's see, like we want to show you what that looks like. Again, is it going? There we go. Again, this is in our workspaces. You can also do it in all the other platforms as we mentioned. And so here is the custom instructions. When I provide you an article or link, I want you to display the information in this way. So you can also tell it how you want it to look. And it says to determine if an article is relevant or not, it must pass the following criteria, and then you put your criteria there, right? And so we're going to put, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say for this example, I kept it super simple. So we're not going with the minimum wage, but we just went with AI articles. So does it talk about artificial intelligence, AI, anything surrounding that? Then I want you to tag me and I want you to give me the summary and next steps.
Oh, perfect. And you went and you grabbed the Slack username. So then that's how it recognizes who to tag. Yeah. And you can connect policies through Microsoft SharePoint or Notion or any of those. Again, you can do that also on other tools as well. And then we go to TechCrunch and we've got TechCrunch's RSS feed. And then now it's pinging people, right? And so I think that one, it said it wasn't relevant. And now here's one that is relevant and that's tagged you, Elly, there. And now you, Elly, are going in and saying, can you explain this to me like I'm 5 and bullet points? And it's answering right there with the RSS feed and all of the information that we have in our workspace.
Exactly. Taking it all together. And I think something I forgot or I must have cut out accidentally was actually how to access an RSS feed. So that's the question I get most often. Typically what I tend to do is go to the website that you want to use and just Control F and look for RSS. Typically it'll be at the very bottom of the page. You click into it and you just copy that URL. Or alternatively, like what I do for everything, I ask ChatGPT, can you give me the RSS link? And there it is, easy peasy.
Perfect. Yeah. So we've got that there. And I know we have, I'll just pause there to see if we have any questions on that one.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It's really handy. Like a lot of lawyers' work is obviously like reading and looking out for new legislation. So if there's anything that you like to keep up to date with, I definitely look into this. The only other thing I'd say is if you've got a workflow tool like Zapier or N8N, you can get really, really complex with this in that we'll actually send it over after I've built out a flow just to show you what you can do. But let's say, for example, again, you've got your RSS feed, you pass it through Wordsmith because Wordsmith is live on Zapier, and maybe you want to get an email instead, or you want it to be logged on your project management board, and then you want to get a ping on Slack. Like you can make this really, really complex, or it's not complex to build, but complicated in the sense of it hooks up multiple different applications. But yeah, possibilities are pretty much endless.
Definitely. And so we're just gonna, and feel free if you have questions, you can come off mute or ask in the chat. We want to make sure that we talk about some best practices. So what have we learned in building so many different agents? And obviously there's a lot more than what we've just talked about. But first, and again, going back to that 95%, start with a clear use case. When you're building out an agent, it does need some.
Sorry,
Go
Laura.
ahead.
I think Karina has a question. Do you want to go
Oh,
for
yeah.
it?
Hi, everyone. Thank you very much for all of this information. I just want to touch on something that you mentioned, Ellie, and get a sense of from the group of what how to overcome some of these challenges with respect to integration. You mentioned like Zapier, large enterprises like the one that I work with use a number of middleware tools. Zapier is one of them, MuleSoft is another one. Workato is another one. And I find that the most challenging thing in a large organization, as opposed to like working in a startup, is getting the necessary IT resources to actually integrate tooling. This is why I think legal tends to focus and prioritize on like point solutions that don't require IT, because ultimately we have only so many resources in our products. And our businesses need to, our IT team is going to be necessarily focused on business areas.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how legal functions can overcome the fact that ultimately we're going to get a very limited amount of resourcing from IT when a tool, when things like agentic AI require that level of integration.
Yeah. And when you say like from IT, do you mean like the necessary, do you just need access, or is it support in terms of actually like setting it up? And
It's like things like setting it up, right? Legal teams are not
yeah,
necessarily going to have like a, Workato, MuleSoft, or Zapier automation expert, right? So
yeah,
we'll need resourcing from architecture teams and our IT team to make sure that we have the necessary access to sort of integrate systems or connect systems.
yeah. It's a really interesting question, and I'll not lie to you, it's not something I've necessarily run into. But what I would say is the beauty of these tools is that they're made for very low code, very low ability when it comes to automation, and that you do not need to be an expert. There is a ton of resources out there. Like we post a lot about it. We post a lot of demo videos on how to actually set these things up. And people are always more than willing to give you some touch points and brainstorm on how to actually do that. So I think this is absolutely something that you could definitely build yourself. But when it comes to just getting access, I think maybe if you explain where you're trying to go with it and how much time it's going to save you in the automation you're trying to build, that tends to win the IT team over. And especially if you say that you're going to be able to build this yourself, all the better. But yeah, when it comes to actually building the things, if you ever want to brainstorm or see what you can do with it, then absolutely drop me a message. I'm more than happy to walk you through it.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I think I find, particularly in larger organizations, that any sort of access to that type of middleware architecture um, uh, that would require essentially the ability to integrate, like systems together that might expose either proprietary or PII data. These sorts of things are, generally speaking, like the IT team and our InfoSig teams don't really share that level of access. You sort of have to go to them, ask for the resources, they'll build it, right? And so I think this is, and I feel, hopefully I'm not the only one who faces this challenge, but in my experience, legal teams generally struggle with getting the level of resources necessary to build this. Even if I, and trust me, I'm that person who'll be like, hey, I'll build it. But it's like, that's nice, but we're not going to give you the keys, And so And it's not in any way malicious. It's purely like we have to protect our ecosystem, and that makes perfect sense. And so, have other folks maybe on the call, other participants face this, and how have they ever overcome this? Maybe there are alternative solutions we can look at that may not require that level of implementation or integration that could still provide similar results. I'd love to hear some of that.
Yeah, the issue with integration, I think, is a sensitive one. And as far as building goes, so I've basically, no pun intended, built my whole career around it, right? In terms of pulling disparate technologies together and integrating them. And really, AI is no different. It is a disparate technology that requires integration into a system. However, and I think Elly and Laura will agree with me, there are increasingly more solutions that have AI built in that don't require the integration. What it requires is a toggle, and that's it. However, if you are in a situation where you don't have the resources and you need to work with your IT and cybersecurity team in order to implement this type of tool, my recommendation is not to toot my own horn, but to hire somebody like me or hire somebody like Elly who can create those integrations for you. However, one caveat that I would like to make, if you have out-of-the-box integrations, API endpoints, that's really easy, right? It's completely, it's a no-brainer, I'll say that. However, if you have to use MuleSoft, the issue that I see is that if there is an update to an underlying technology, then the connectors to MuleSoft also have to be updated. And that's a tedious process. So I would recommend going with built-in API integrations whenever possible. But Elly, you would have more to say on that than I would.
No, I think your points are all super, super valid. And this is actually a really interesting conversation. Again, like I love hearing about new pain points, however unfortunate it is that you're facing them, but it's not something that I personally run into. But yeah, maybe it's something that Laura and I can discuss a bit more, and we can do another session on how to actually overcome this.
Yeah, because it is very interesting. And yeah, I think we can do, because I supported engineering and development teams at tech companies in most of my roles. And I've also worked with some larger organizations, large like pharmaceutical companies who face a lot of these similar issues. So I think there's a variety of different ways to go. So I definitely think that you inspired us to start a new webinar, I think, on this. And we can host it through the Academy if you want. So definitely go sign up for the Academy, plugging myself self-servingly. But we want to have these conversations and make it free for everyone to join and to do that. And so I know we have like a couple of minutes left, right? We've got about 5 minutes left. And so we've got best practices that are in here, but I'm not going to go through them because people have been having questions. So I think we're going to just kind of leave these last 5 minutes for questions. So does anyone have any questions for us? It's quiet now. Well, while you're thinking of that, we mentioned this before you do any task, can AI help you do this task? That's something to try to change our habits and our mindset. So that's a great thing to ask yourself. And I also want to just say that we have this legal prompting cheat sheet. We'll provide the link to that for you. We also have legal AI engineering playbook. So here we talk about the 3 different core pillars of building out legal excellence around AI. We have operational, technical, and then leadership. I will be building a course around this that is quite extensive, and this is for legal teams. So it doesn't matter what your role is on a legal team. You don't need to be a lawyer for this. We really want to empower teams to understand how to use AI and get the most out of it. So be on the lookout for that. But right now you can kind of go through this yourself. And then this is our Academy. It shows you some of the things that we have coming up. We've got office hours, which please drop by, say hi, come with your questions to our office hours. We're trying to do it at a European, US friendly time. Sorry, California. It's quite early.
Boo-hoo, boo-hoo.
I know. Oh,
I'll wake
God.
up early just for you, Laura.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We would love to have you. So we have those there, and please definitely our contact information. You can except for Ellie, there's a typo. Oh God, both of the emails there's a typo. ChatGPT did not catch those typos. You
It did
can't have
not.
a dot a email address. So again, sorry, I flew from Copenhagen to New York last night and woke up at like 4 o'clock in the morning. So this is my fault. Laura at wordsmith.ai and Ellie at wordsmith.ai, not dot AII. I can't even say that. And please connect with us on LinkedIn. Thank you. Ellie is fixing it.
You're
Thank you
so
for
welcome.
fixing that. So please, like, we love these questions, and this is part of our job. So reach out, connect. And if you'd like to, help host a topic or you have ideas on the Academy, I am all for that. So definitely reach out to us.
Absolutely. Let us know what you want to see. And yeah, please reach out.
And I know we're here for a little bit longer, so if anyone has any questions in the last final minutes, please ask us and we are able to help you.
Can you guys put your LinkedIn URLs in the chat so we can connect with you on LinkedIn? If
I think
that's
Robin did that, right?
Yeah,
I
I can just
it.
repost. Let me try again.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, please connect with us.
Oh,
I see
groovy.
Melissa.
Okay, great. Thank you.
All right.
Melissa, I see you have a question.
I know I had my like mouse over the hand and I didn't realize I actually clicked the button. It must have just been like autopilot. It was just like it knows I wanted to. What was I gonna ask? Oh, so I've been trialing a couple different legal AI companies. I haven't trialed Wordsmith yet, but I know like a couple of them, like they'll say that they train on multiple LLMs. Like one of them uses both Claude and ChatGPT, and then I went to a thing with a GC AI yesterday that said that I think they use 5 different sources, and was wondering like what mixture of, I guess, LLMs Wordsmith is using, or is it like it's kind of its own thing?
No, we similarly are built on top of different LLMs. So, and Ellie, you can correct me if I'm wrong. It changes, right? As they update models, we also will switch them in and out and test them.
Okay.
So we use ChatGPT, we use Gemini, we use Claude, we use Grok, but not Elon Musk's one, the open source one. And do we have another? I feel like there's another one.
Yeah, so I think we've got 5 in total, and to like really answer your question, we switch in and out depending on the task at hand. So we want to give you the best tool to get the best outcome. And then additionally, we do not train on any of your data. It's completely secure within your own instance. If, for example, even in Wordsmith, Laura and I are obviously part of the same team, part of the same company. If Laura is querying a workspace, not in Slack on the actual web app, or she's using Wordsmith, I can't access or see any of her information, nor can Wordsmith train on any of your data.
Okay, awesome. And so it just like intuitively knows, like based on what the task at hand is, like which one to use, basically.
Yeah, it'll basically call on the appropriate tool, and again, our engineers can like basically plug in, plug out, as the models basically get better and depending on what's working best at the time.
Awesome, thank you.
No problem.
Melissa, on a tangential note, I just love your glasses.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you. They're like all of the colors.
I'm glad you said that because I was going to say the same thing. Any other questions? I know we're a little bit, are we over time?
I just want to thank
Yeah.
you both very, very, very much for pulling this webinar together and for being so open and helpful. Just really loved this this call. It was amazing for me, and I hope we can connect sometime in the future, and start evangelizing a little bit more about Wordsmith and AI. Take care,
Yes,
everybody.
thank you.
All
Yeah,
right.
and thank you
Thank
for
you so
joining.
much. Thank you.
Mhm. Any other, I see, because we still have some people here. So if anyone has any other questions, we're happy to answer them. Although I know Ellie is probably getting close to your dinner time or something.
It is. For anybody that doesn't know, I am Irish, but I'm in Edinburgh. But yeah, no, I've got a couple more minutes. Absolutely.
Hi,
Well,
Ellie. This is Christy from Amsterdam.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I'm really interested in the Ask Legal bot,
Yeah.
but our SharePoint is a complete mess. So I'm really reluctant to connect Wordsmith to our SharePoint because garbage in, garbage out. So do you have any advice on how to how to make sure that Ask Legal the bot gives the correct answers? Because obviously
Yeah.
I probably need to clean up.
Yeah, you know what? It's almost a great way for you to be able to clean up in the sense of if you're asking a question against the SharePoint database, you'll be able to see like what is actually wrong, like what do you need to change. And the best thing about using Wordsmith on the web app rather than Slack is you can get citations. So if, for example, you ask the question, can I work from Bali for 3 weeks? And Wordsmith says yes, but you know the answer is actually no, you can't. You'll be able to click on the citations. It'll take you to the document. You'll be able to see exactly where that answer came from, and you'll be able to update it from there and then. And like I said before, Wordsmith is constantly syncing. So once you update it, it's going to get the correct answer the next time. So in a way, it's almost a good way for you to find out, yeah, what's going wrong. You can update it, and you can go through your SharePoint like that.
Perfect. That's what I needed. Thank you.
Good, no problem.
any other questions?
I think, are we getting error on our? Oh no, sorry, it's not ours.
So,
Paul O'Hagan, you might want to update your LinkedIn address because Melissa is getting a 404 error.
They might have left.
oh, I think the R is missing, I think, because it says PM lead.
Oh, maybe it's supposed to be leader.
Yeah,
Okay.
look at that problem solving.
Wow, what a team.
Thank you so much for this. And I know like both of you post a lot of like inspiration and ideas and like on different things that you build on LinkedIn. And I have one of the, like the maps that like Ellie did in Figma.
Oh, thanks.
And I just need time to like sit down and play with that, but I love the whole like flow that you did. That was really awesome.
Oh, thank you so much. I often joke that's the way my brain works is a bit of a Sigma and Miro board. So that's how I map out. Like another thing like that's if I'm trying to identify like my problems in a legal team, that's typically how I'll like then draft out the problem, draft out the solution. And I often say like if you can't lay it out this way and explain it to a 5-year-old or your grandmother, then you don't know the problem well enough. That's how I do it.
And I love that you like introduced that tool because I was like, I have all this stuff in my brain and I need to like be able to see it visually, like lay it out somewhere. And this is like the table where you can like put all of the like pieces, like the IKEA furniture that you're gonna build.
Exactly, and jigsaw it all together. Absolutely, it is Miro and Figma, for anybody who doesn't know. They're really good at mapping out processes. Like typically it's for product teams, engineering teams. It's not to say it's not for everybody else, but I think that's who it was mainly marketed to. But yeah, they're fantastic tools. It's really handy for being able to showcase it to other stakeholders, explain what it is you're trying to achieve. And yeah, even like what Melissa said, like just trying to get all the stuff out of your brain, puke it onto a page, it's really useful.
Yeah. Oh, and I learned too, like last weekend that if you have a MacBook, Freeform, I think it's all on the iPhones and iPads too, but Freeform is like a similar thing. It's like a whiteboard where you can like move around and make these little diagrams and mind maps.
Yeah.
So, like I had no idea. I just had it sitting here this whole time.
It was there all along.
Yeah. So I'm trying that too. I don't know if it's as advanced. Like I think there's like maybe like Figma has a lot more options like with the AI and all that, but
Yeah, I think it's another really good tool. Like as you can see on the left hand side, I like doodles a little bit. If you ever look at my Canva or my LinkedIn, I like doing doodles. So that's why I gravitate towards Figma, but absolutely there's a ton of other tools that do similar things that are really good out there. So just find one for you.
yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks. And yeah, you can go if you're interested in this. It's on Elly's LinkedIn, and so you can go and check that out. And I think we are coming to the end. Again, please reach out to us. We also have weekly AI office hours where it's generally myself and an AI engineer who is joining. So occasionally that is Elly. Other times it is other people. But please, please come hang out with us. And thank you so much for your time and your attention today.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everyone.